Hello, my friends. So I was rummaging through my bookshelves here, everywhere else, and I found this old diary, leather-bound notebook with Navratna, the 9 planets. And I was going through my notes, and I discovered that I have a lot of good stuff here for our upcoming masterclasses on reality and consciousness and how to understand our role in the creation of the universe and how to wake up from human to metahuman. So, in that spirit, I'd like to read to you some of my notes from a long time ago. The natural expression of our true self is curiosity, play, wonder, joy, mystery, awe, freedom from cognitive and perceptual constraints, creativity, unlimited imagination, delight in sensual and sensory experiences. This can actually be seen in a person's body language, in their eye movements, in their facial expressions, tone of their voice, their gestures, and how contracted or relaxed their body is. So this is our natural expression. All you have to do is look at a child and see that that's the true self. Now comes the conditioned self, which comes about as a result of what I call the recycling of the hypnosis of social conditioning, cultural conditioning, scientific conditioning, philosophical conditioning, economic conditioning, racial conditioning, the entire history of humanity since the cognitive revolution. This conditioned self, which we usually call me and mine, or even I, not the real I, not the I within the I or beyond the I, but the usual, I am Deepak. This conditioned self has a completely different expression: need for approval, need for validation, what I've called object referral, or Maharishi used to call object referral. And it is everything that we know, everything that we think we know. This is very important because, you go back to Socrates, who said, all that I know is that I know nothing. And yet we have certain assumptions about reality, about ourselves, about our righteousness, and about our knowing, particularly about our knowing. And so, there's a phrase in the Vedanta that every step of knowing only increases your ignorance. Knowing hides your ignorance. But let me come to that in a moment, okay? The conditioned self, as a result of what I've said so far, is fearful, competitive, beneath some, superior to some, always in a hurry, distracted, constrained by perceptual and cognitive filters, labels, beliefs, certainties, ideas, and everything that we think we know. It's also biased, prejudiced, because of beliefs that have been linked to personal stories and trauma in the past, and it also has a lot of prejudices, opinions, and this separate self is usually defined by labels, definitions, judgments, likes, dislikes. It projects the conditioned self as the experience of the body, and also the physical world that we experience as perceptual activity. So this particular conditioned self is at the mercy of public opinion. So that's from my notes. Now let's just focus on one thing. So when Nisargadatta Maharaj was asked, what was the first sign of your awakening to reality, to metaverse, to meta-reality, not those exact words, but whatever. Nisargadatta's response was, I started to lose my habitual certainties. Now, everything that we think we are certain about, we almost certainly are wrong about it. And because what we're certain about is usually what we believe in, which is a result of the conditioned mind. So when we are certain, let's take certain statements, all Hollywood is full of corruption, predatory, and ruthless. If that's your knowing because of your personal experience, that knowing limits your possibilities, because every time you see somebody from Hollywood, you come with that knowing, and that automatically puts filters on and constraints on our perceptual activity and our cognitive ability, which gets limited. It limits possibilities to that filter. We see through the lens of perception, but the lens itself is restricted in possibilities. I gave you one example, but there could be many examples. All politicians are corrupt. No, I would normally agree with that, but there are exceptions. So if I believe that all politicians are corrupt, then that cognitive and perceptual restraint will limit my possibilities of engaging with a politician who's not corrupt, or even finding one. I could give you innumerable examples, but everything you know actually limits your knowing and limits your creativity and limits your possibilities, everything you know. So as a physician, I trained in internal medicine, and then I trained in endocrinology and then neuroendocrinology. So the more I became a specialist, the less I knew about general medicine. Forget about ophthalmology and surgery and gynecology and dermatology, although, I have some idea. But you see how my knowing restricted my possibilities of a bigger knowing. Now, this is how it happens in everything that we know, whether it's science, philosophy. Every opinion we have is a knowing that comes from a very restricted lens. This is what William Blake meant when he said, we are led to believe a lie when we see with and not through the eye. That was born in a night to perish in a night, while the soul slept in beams of light. It's also there's another poem by William Blake. I don't know the exact verse, but it's something like when the doors, no, that's actually Huxley, Aldous Huxley, when the doors of perception are cleansed, everything will appear to us as it really is, infinite, and we are that infinite. So as we explore our master classes, we will see how to unleash our creativity by going beyond our traditional habitual certainties and harnessing the infinite creativity of the pure mind, the unconditioned awareness of infinite possibilities, the awareness of being.